All right, hello everyone. This is Nancy Rebecca with Intuitive Mind, and I am here talking again with Maria O'Farrell Carr, and she and I will be co-leading and hosting the Vibe with Your Tribe Ireland tour coming up May 6th through May 15th. And I've already talked to Maria a little bit about stone circles and about ley lines and all things magical and mystical and about the ancientness of Ireland. And in this particular clip, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the different towns in Ireland and the places that we're going to stay, the the different accommodations you've talked to me about, the shops, the things that are known in Ireland. I think I was mentioning the like the emerald stones, those beautiful green emerald stones. But the part that really surprised me, I talked to you about this, was just how famous Ireland is for producing great poets and writers and musicians and songwriters. And of course, the Irish are quite well known for their storytelling. And so, and then of course there's the Guinness and that it's known for, and the Jameson's whiskey, and the food. There's so much to talk about. So just tell us a little bit about, in between our ventures out onto the land, what can people expect at the different places that we're going to stay?
So during the day, we will be seeing a lot of getting out into the land and to different places and visiting. And then in the evenings, we are still there as, co-hosts. We're still with the group in the evenings. And I think that's where the magic as well is, because after a lovely day, we all come together and we get to listen to some Irish music, have some good food. I have people ask, well, I'm gluten-free. I'm like, not a problem. Celiac is actually a genetic, comes from it's an Irish disease.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so it comes from that. I often say somebody's celiac. I said, "Oh, you got Irish in your heritage," and they go, "Yes, I do." Always you will find great options, whether it is gluten-free or vegan or vegetarian, or if you just have something, you just ask sort of one of the servers, and they'll just bend over backwards.
Wow.
To help you. And the food is also so wonderful, because we have banned the GMOs, so we have not had them in there. We have old heritage seeds in the foods. We also have the food, like the sheep and the cows are raised on grass in fields. The sheep are up in the mountains and they're just herded down 4 times a year. So they're wild and they're happy and they're off having a grand old time. So they have a happy life, and it's what I'm trying to say.
But you're quite well known for your big Irish breakfast.
So we eat like kings in the morning. It's a big breakfast. And so it's because we would be needing a good breakfast to go out and work on the land. So you have a big breakfast, and then your lunches used to be called dinner, was actually lunch a lot of the times. And then we have our evening meal, which normally isn't as big. But so the breakfast is the king of all the meals. So on our tours, because we're also going to be out for the day and going for walking around these lovely places, we have, every morning they have a beautiful big breakfast where you can have, beautiful Irish sausages that taste nothing like anywhere else. And we also have, of course, fruits and yogurts and granolas and all of that too. And a gluten-free bread you're going to have. But often you're going to have baked beans with your breakfast, and you're often going to have potatoes for your breakfast as well too. And
the breakfast is included in the accommodations where we'll be staying, included in the cost of the tour. Okay.
Yeah. And of course you have to have a cup of tea.
Yes.
But they do have coffee as well.
Okay. And then tell me a bit about the storytelling and the writing. So this is what I remember, going into a store that just sold pens just for writing. I mean, this is how much of a big deal writing is in Ireland. And that I remember there was one pen in particular that I thought, oh my gosh, I love that pen. And I asked how much it was. I think it was 10,000 pounds or something. I mean, it was just one pen. Of course, you know, they had more in my price range as well. But yeah, that history of writing is quite.
Well, our language used to be an oral language, so it was passed down through stories. And I think that feeling of getting things down now while we can't, like when we weren't allowed to share our stories, it was only be able to, or practice our religion or our tradition. So we could only do it in a way of speaking. And then now we're just trying to, we just have this yearning to get things written down. And because it is normal, like I was just down at one of my favorite local pubs in Bray, and I met a wonderful guy, and he's on 3 books he's written. And he was just like, oh yeah, I've written 3 books. And then I found his book, and it was fantastic. So, and people, the music, they, you know, it's a passion for them. They're writing. I mean, my mom is, well, she's an artist, which is another, you'll find artists a lot in Ireland as well. But she does poetry as well.
Mm.
So on our tour, we have Marshy, who's a Shanachie. He's a storyteller. So we're hoping he will hear some of the stories when we're at the Hill of Vishnu. We have Laura, who will be joining us as well. And she's going to be, I couldn't believe, I'm so excited about that. She is in love with W.B. Yeats. Oh. So she's actually going to, in one of the places we are going to be going, Yeats wrote this poem about this waterfall. And so while we're there, for anybody who wants to in our group, she's going to actually read some of Yeats' poetry. So, and the artist, my mom is a very well-known artist in Ireland, and my sister is one of the top Ireland artists. So if we can, we on the Dublin Day Tour, they pop in and see her, or when they're down in Kerry, there's another gallery, and I just love going by, and our art's in the window, and people are looking at the window, just strangers, and I go, that's my sister. But you know, I have another friend, Colum. He's you know, songwriter and beautiful voice, and so it is when you're over there. It is the love they have for the arts and the culture, and even our president, that is his thing, is the arts and the culture.
Yeah,
and
I was really hoping to get infused with the writing bug. So that's definitely going to be part of my intention on this trip as well. But one of the other things I was, you know, I love nice surprises, was in Christianity and the Christian churches, and they're so beautiful, these stone structures, and they're everywhere, and they're old, and they were the archivers of the ancestry and family history, the births, the deaths, the weddings. And so you can actually go to some of the churches that if you knew that your family was in that area, you can look up those things. But the energy of it, you can just, that love of praying and meditating together, just really, when you walk into those places, it just really, my heart just really expanded.
And it's that connection as well with the praying. So the churches were often built on, say, in the Druids' days or the priestess days before that, they already knew where the land was sacred, where there was a thin veil. So you have that, you know, it's easy to connect through your heart. And then the churches, when they came along, they were built often on the same places.
Oh.
So the churches are on these very special places, and then that just come up, and then you have the people gathering and all connecting as one to setting their intents. Mm-hmm. But the churches are absolutely beautiful. I always say in Killarney, they can go down to St. Mary's Cathedral, which is beautiful. In Galway, it's beautiful church as well. But then there's these small old little churches as well, little stone churches. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be seeing them, and some ruined ones as well, mm-hmm. that you know, that we get to visit, because they're they've been picked for a reason why they're at these
at
certain
that
places.
site. At that site. There was another story that I remember that really has always stayed with me. And so it were monks. I know you're going to remember the story much better than I did, but that they knew that they would be moving from the island to the mainland, and that there was a certain tree that would carry the wisdom and knowledge of the area that they were in. So they needed to plant the tree on the mainland. It was like 600 years because they knew, is that correct? Like,
oh yeah, it's older than that.
Yeah, and that they knew that the information would travel along the root system in the trees and bring all the knowledge to the land that they were going to be moving to. And so they didn't think about housing or logistics about how they're going to do it or anything. They first went to the trees, and they knew that the trees needed to begin sending the messages of the information before they as humans could actually move. This just blew my mind to think like that.
Because we're only here for a short period of time. Whereas these trees, I mean, I think I know the one you're talking about, it's on that island that we go to. And it's recorded as being 780 years old, but it's older than that.
Oh.
And it is that the tree's holding the knowledge, because we're going to be here in this lifetime, but then we'll pass on and there's more people. So all of that knowledge is being held, the energy and the vibration is held. And by asking to receive messages, by being around these ancient trees, then we can just connect and the information can download.
Yeah.
And as you were saying, when they're moving, yeah, it's like with the mushrooms, there's a network all underneath. It's the same thing with the trees and under the lake, which actually this one lake is really special because I believe that it is actually Tirnanog is under this lake.
It's what?
Tirnanog, which is the land of the youth, where the fairies live in the underworld, is under this lake.
Oh, I just got goosebumps.
So it goes down, and then it came back up in this new abbey that was being built.
Yes, that's what I
And
remember.
the tree came up inside the walk yard, it's like a little walk yard, and they walk around and they do their meditation and they go in, and there's this trees come in. And remember on the other video we were talking about how on the workshop we talk about the stone circles and how the energy goes up and also comes down to the land, and we can receive that information too. This tree is actually doing that on its bark. It is twisted as it's going up. It's beautiful.
Oh, I can still, as if even sitting here in Tacoma, Washington, I just have a connection with that tree and the story. And it was just like, wait a minute, I just need to stay here for a while longer.
Well, and that's nice because we don't we get to a place we don't want to be rushed. Yeah. So we might shorten down our lunch hour and bring sandwiches with us and a packed lunch because we want to have more time. So when we come to somewhere like that, we take time to talk about it, but then we take time to do a meditation where we can ground, where our group have got time to be in the energy and really open that connection of having
it stays with me. I mean, it's been years and it stays with me.
Yeah.
So castles, I want to talk a little bit about Ireland has a lot of castles as well, and we're going to be visiting the castle where the Braveheart.
Yes, which you haven't been to yet, Nancy.
I have not been to there.
Yeah, so that's a very impressive castle. We'll be coming in the evening, so the people who'd like to, they can walk around the castle, and again, it's that circle thing, and just marvel at the history and the ancient, the way the things were built, and so high up. How did they get up there without scaffolding? So we do that one castle, but we'll also have time as well when we're in Kerry. We will be able to go inside as well, another castle, and inside they actually have lovely little models of how it looked how it looked before they got
Yeah.
broken down. And I think as well, we're going to, we're going to go to another castle, which you haven't been to, and it's massive. And that's up in Roscommon. Now, a lot of the castles got destroyed when Cromwell came in. He went through the country and burnt all the castles and buildings and estates houses and moved on and took the people off the land. So, but the thing is, the shell of it are still there, and the energy is still lovely there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but we will be seeing, there's 2 intact one, and then one I had to see it in the ruin part, but it's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we've talked about all, stone circles and fairies and goddesses, and we talked about the writing, and we've talked about the trees and the giants and
The music.
And the music and the people. We have not talked about just that, how welcoming the Irish people are. That you do just feel welcome everywhere you go, and they're excited that you're there and excited to engage in conversation.
They love to have a chat.
Yes, they do love to have a chat.
They just love to chat, because I think what it is, we're so used to chatting that if we know, we're not afraid to get into a conversation because we know how to get out of the conversation if we need to, right? So, it's just like, why not? So what are you up to and stuff? And they're just so loving. Like, if they connect with you and you have a heart connection, that's it. In fact, this morning I just had one of my friends, and when we finish our tour, there'll be I have a couple of days off before I have a second one, and she just said, when are you going to be there in Killarney? And she said, no, you're going to stay with me. And so I mean, she said, no, that's it. And and I'm like, so it's that love, that it doesn't matter if you haven't been there for a while. The friendships there, they just open up their hearts to you, and I love going. Mostly I'm living in Ireland for the spring and the autumn, so it's great. I get to hang around for quite a bit, and then I come back to Canada for the summer and the winter, and it could be months since I've been back, and I just can walk in the pub and there's somebody who just gives you that love. It's a smile.
Yeah.
You just you just feel so welcome.
Yeah. Well, the one, I guess, as we start to kind of wrap this up, I've asked you the questions that I've been most interested in, but is there anything that you would like to share that I didn't ask?
I love, Nancy, when you ask me questions. I don't know. I don't really have any statement I want to say, except for the fact that I do think that this is a very special tour. It was 2 years ago. It was, Goddess Bridget and Archangel Michael just setting it up that, because normally I do tours in March and April, and so it was, May. But it was like we were needing to be here have a group in this one time in May. And then later when I was talking to wonderful Shanna Key and man Marshy, who works at the Hill of Ushnock, and he was just telling me about that as the world gathering of the tribes, where the land is inviting all the elders, the spiritual leaders like yourself to come, the healers, to all come together as one for the Beltane Festival, which is one of our 4 main Celtic festivals in our medicine wheel. And so this is a time that the land is calling, that we're coming into the place of Hill of Ushnock, which is the womb of Ireland, where the ley lines are birthed. And these ley lines then go across Ireland and intersect with other ones, but then they branch all over the world.
I'm super excited about that.
So there is an awakening coming on this Beltane.
I can feel that. I can feel this enormous awakening, and I'm not even nervous. I feel like this deep peace about it, but there's this other level where I feel really excited to be around so many people coming from all over the world to gather at this event. Yeah.
And they, even with Marty, Beltane is sort of known to be the 1st of May, but they have worked so much with the land that they also can know that it's connected with the stars as well.
Yes.
And the date was the reason why they picked the specific date of May the 9th is because it's where the constellation lines up. And this is why it's on this specific date.
Oh, I will definitely be excited to hear more about that when we are on the tour together. So again, the price of the tour is beyond reasonable.
Oh, yeah.
You have Canadian prices, you have the American prices, and it is beyond reasonable. And you can get some more information by coming to my website at intuitivemind.org to find out how to get connected to Maria and the what is her name? Elaine, that you work with through Bank.
Yeah, Elaine's my partner. We work together because one of the lovely things about our tour is that we are registered and bonded tour. And so it means that, you know, everything is protected for our clients or for our guests, because these guests are going to become like family to us. So it just means that we're approved to be working in Ireland. It means we're bonded and it's protected. So, and Elaine as well looks after if people want to book their flights, because there's a little Irish flight, that little regional one that has to be added in. So Elaine's fantastic, and she looks after that part of.
Beautiful.
Yes, and then I could just focus on creating what we're going to be doing, and you know, working with my lovely bus driver Anthony, and all of those other things in the guests. So it works out lovely.
So Elaine helps. So people cover their airline ticket, and then for the cost of the tour, that includes their accommodation, their travel, their breakfast. Entry fees, does that include entry
Yes, the
fees?
admissions and the 2 guides. There's 1 or 2 little stone circles that we don't include because it is like a market respect. The people themselves need to put a coin, like a euro or a 2 euro. It can't come from, even though they could give it to me and I could put it down, it isn't. It's the fairies like little treats. So it has to come from the person. But there's only about two times we do that on a tour. And it's like, well, if we want to go in, it's because we want the cash just to go to the farmer or the guardian of the land, because they are protecting that area.
Yeah.
So
I know that there's 2 kinds of people. Like for me, if I feel called, I always say, if I feel my soul, I just know that I'm supposed to be there. I usually don't need to know any details. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be there. Just tell me where, when, how to show up. And I will trust that the finances will fall into place for that to happen. However, there are other people that, to help them make decisions, they really like a lot more detail, and they have a lot more questions to help their body settle, even though they know they're feeling called to go. So what I know about you is that you're available to talk to them and answer all of their questions, and all no detail is too much to help assure them of the things that are going to be taken care of. So, and
some people, it's their many times I have people come and it's their very first time being out of North America or their home country, or flying, you know, over on a big plane over. So I just love, once they decide that they want to go, then, or even the idea that they want to go, definitely always open to, you drop me an email, and love questions. The more questions they ask, I know that they're getting they're getting a better idea what the trips are like. And we can even set up time to talk on the phone if they need to as well.
Perfect.
And the other one, as I do sometime too, is I have something to set the intent, or hold the energy of it, you know, me putting into action my creative ideas into the doing part. So when I started the tours, this is actually the original amethyst. It's a little sparkle, but it's in Ireland. This grows naturally in the land. And so places like Achill Island, different places. As a child, I was growing up, I was like, what is that purpley sparkling thing? I said to my dad, and he goes, it's amethyst. It's a rock. Wow. So the crystals are just coming up, and these are quartz crystals, and there's places in Ireland where the crystals are coming out under the trees, or you'll see them coming up from the land. And so there's lots of crystal energy in it. So I use it as a tool that if I I want to set the intent that something happened, I ask the crystals to just help me make it happen, or to help assist me with the next step forward.
Yeah, boosting your intention and desire.
Okay, there you go.
Magnetizing it. So
And
supercharging it.
Supercharging it. I love it, because I'm not really a big one into crystals. It's just been on the tours. I've learned as well from so many different people who are crystal. Like I have stone people, and there's fairy energy people, and there's crystal people, and they're the ones that have just, they light up when they start seeing the crystals in Ireland that for them.
Beautiful.
And the other thing is that it isn't like a pilgrimage, like a praying type of spiritual tour. It's more about connecting with the land and connecting with your heart vibration, and connecting with that energy of the people and the land, and also with each other. But we have a lot of fun.
Yes.
So if somebody's coming along and they say, well, I don't want to do any of those circle things, don't worry about it, because we might do a circle, but there's so much for you just to go and wander and have a look, and we just do short little circles, and they're very lighthearted, and in the evenings, so much fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you again so much, Maria, for taking time out of your day to get on the video, because as I said, it's very different kind of hearing the real stories, hearing your accent.
I don't think I have an accent.
But just hearing your stories and the richness of those stories on where people can actually listen and see me in person, who that they'll be traveling with, because that makes a big difference. So thank you again so much for coming on the call. And I definitely am thrilled to be traveling with you again in May.
And thank you so much for setting all of this up. I think it was so much fun. I've so enjoyed it. And I just cannot wait to see you very soon coming up.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It'll be coming up quite quickly. All right. Thanks again, Maria.
Thank you, Nancy. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.